Oh, predictions to make. Got to get this thing underway. Patrick's being documented.
Right now? Oh, no. Okay.
Well, not at the... Well, I don't know. He might be taking notes on you. Subject displays confusion. Do you want to explain what's going on behind you? In case people see.
Actually, I don't think it's very public yet. So
Okay. There's a guy behind Patrick. We know he's there. He belongs there. He did not sneak into Patrick's house unexpectedly. That's all you need to know. And then we're
3 minutes. T minus 3 minutes.
We're going to do a show. It's jam-packed. We've got lots of pre-top stories. We got top stories. We got a discussion story. We got emails. We got voicemails. We got
all sorts of mails.
People buying mugs.
We do?
Yeah. And hoodies.
The super soft hoodies?
Oh, they're so good. They're so good. I wish this was just me being finally getting good at selling things. But it's not. Like I just like them because I'm telling people like, yeah, if you don't want the DTNS one, go buy the TMS one or whatever. They're worth it.
Buy something.
Yeah, they're soft. I just want to sleep in mine. Like instead of the bed, just crawl up inside. Volkai asks, "Who's the guy I'm not hearing behind Patrick?" We just said. It's nothing for you to concern yourself with. It's fine. Everything's fine. What guy? I don't see a guy. All right. That's the notification that I need to mute my phone and that we can get underway.
Oh, really? We're going to start early?
I don't know. I mean, we can. It's up to you.
Yeah. Let's.
If we were having a rollicking conversation about Fred Flintstone's effect on Cold War diplomacy, I'd say no. Well, let's wait till 1:30.
We could do that.
Yeah, I guess we could. All right. Yeah, Big Jim. Thank you. It's in the lineup. Here we go.
This show is brought to you by audience members like me, not outside organizations. To find out more, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, December 13th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Patrick Beja, my co-host, also host of Pixels and the Phileas Club at FrenchSpin.com, and master of scarves.
I will put that title on my business cards from now on. Yeah, it's a fun day. My house has become a refuge for lost tech bloggers. They're just showing up. The French tech bloggers are here.
They're
saying hi.
That is so wonderful that you've opened your home to them.
It's a day. It's a season of giving, and I'm giving shelter to my tech blogger friends.
The spirit of Noel lives on in Patrick's chateau and other actual French words. We've got a bunch of stuff to get to. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to talk about the future of on-demand delivery, whether there is a future for on-demand delivery, whether autonomous cars make any difference with that. But we got a few other items. There's a bunch of announcements that aren't things that necessarily we have a lot to discuss about right now, but they're platform-like announcements. However, there is a big piece of news that came out about an hour and a half or two ago. Oculus CEO Brendan Uribe is stepping down from the CEO position, and Oculus is splitting in two. He's going to head a new internal PC VR division, and then the mobile VR division will be led by recent hire John Thomason. Meanwhile, Facebook CTO Mike Schrepfer will look for a new Oculus CEO. An update to macOS Sierra Tuesday has removed the time remaining indicator from the battery life drop-down menu because it just wasn't very accurate, and fixes graphics problems on late 2016 MacBook Pros, the ones with the touch strip, as well as a change to messaging around iCloud syncing so you don't get shocked when things disappear from your desktop. Google launched a new Internet of Things platform called Android Things, as a developer preview for building smart devices on Android's API. It'll eventually work with Weave, and it's basically the spiritual successor to Brillo, if you know what that is. If you don't worry, it's been replaced by Android things. And Microsoft is making a Cortana Skills Kit and Cortana Devices SDK. Those are available in private preview for partners right now to build into software and hardware, kind of like what Amazon does with Alexa. Those should roll out to anyone interested sometime in 2017. Patrick, any quick reactions, any hot takes on those?
I guess the Oculus thing is the one that would get some reaction out of me. I'm just not quite sure what that reaction would be yet. Is it a kind of a sanction for the CEO? Is it them wanting to have more specialized people in department? I'm not quite sure. It does seem like trying to move things, shake things up a little bit, and that probably isn't a positive indication of the CEO's performance, I would guess. But
yeah, I think it's probably a shift to emphasis on mobile. They probably said, look, Uribe, we brought you in when we were all about the desktop. You're great with the desktop. Keep doing the desktop. But we need some juice on mobile, and maybe they decided they needed more of a generalized CEO. It'll be interesting to see who they get.
Right. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure that Brendan wasn't thinking like, you know what, it's fine. I'll just take the PC thing. I don't want to be the real CEO of the company.
Maybe it's like, this is too much, guys. I just want to do desktop. It's my passion. I don't want to deal with mobile.
It's possible. And more power to him.
All right, let's get to the rest of the top stories. Alphabet announced today it will move its autonomous car project from Google X into a new company under Alphabet called Waymo, Waymo, like way moving. Waymo. Fiat Chrysler has been partnered with the Google X project since May and will continue to partner with Waymo. Waymo CEO John Krafcik said the technology could be used in ride-sharing, transportation, trucking, logistics, even personal use vehicles, licensing with automakers, public transport. There's a lot of speculation out there about what they're going to do with it. He said yes to all of it. We were considering all of it. Krafcik expects the first modified Chrysler Pacifica to use the Waymo technology to be on the road in the near future. Bloomberg and The Information both reported that sources said Alphabet hoped to have a ride-sharing service available for passengers by the end of 2017.
Yeah, this feels like a graduation. It's one of those things where Google, or Alphabet rather, decides, all right, this is ready to be tested in the market. We're going to try to actually make something out of it. And the interesting thing is, maybe 3 years ago, Google was doing this incredible, impossible thing of dreaming of autonomous vehicles. And in the interim, everyone else has started doing it with actual commercial views and intent. So it seems like now, incredibly, Google is maybe catching up or trying to catch up to others that have been a little bit more commerce-minded or results-minded than they have been.
Yeah, I mean, part of it strikes me as Larry Page's continuing emphasis on making all of Google's other bets, or Alphabet rather's other bets, profitable. And he says, hey, you know what we are going to waste a lot of money on? Trying to become a car manufacturer. But we've got this amazing tech. Let's partner up. Let's monetize that. Let's turn that into a business, and we'll call it Waymo, because why not?
Makes sense. Apple started selling its Bluetooth headphones Tuesday morning. The AirPods have no connecting wires and sell for $159. Delivery dates were listed for December 21st, but quickly slipped to January.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell if there's anything to that. Every iPhone does the same thing, right? The first 100,000 people who order get a delivery date that's soon, and everybody else slips to a month later. I was unfortunate enough to be sleeping when they popped this out there, and so I didn't get my delivery date until January 21st.
Well, I wasn't, because I live in a place where it was already the day when that happened. And so I did get them, and I'm hopefully going to be receiving them next week. I'm not, I got them kind of because I had decided I wanted to try out that wonderful wireless future Apple has been trying to sell us. I'm not convinced I'm super enthusiastic about it, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I can't wait to try them. I hope they deliver on the promise. I also hope that you don't lose one of them before I get my first pair.
Now I'm not going to say anything because I wouldn't want to jinx myself.
Synaptics announced its FS9100 fingerprint scanner can be embedded under up to a millimeter of glass. That means phone manufacturers could have an all-glass front, something that's been rumored for several upcoming models, including an iPhone. It also is claimed that this sensor will work well with wet fingers, something I've been wanting every time I use my tablet while I'm cooking. Synaptics
I thought you were going to say every time I lose my phone in the shower.
That too, yeah. Synaptics did not release many details on how this works, but did say to expect the sensor to roll out in Q1 with mass production beginning in Q2. So we should see these in some model of phone or other by the end of 2017.
So wait a second, that didn't exist already? We've been hearing about these rumors forever, and the technology I can't decide. Again, I'm very undecided today, it seems. If this was kind of sloppy reporting on the people that were saying, I'm sure it was on the verge of happening, maybe someone else is already has the technology out there. But I'm like, if someone else already had the technology out there, this doesn't necessarily mean it's big news. But if they didn't,
put it together, right? You're letting rumor mongering mess with your sense of timing. There was a rumor that Apple and Samsung, I think, were going to have all glass fronts with sensors that were underneath the glass. Synaptics, at the time, had this technology, was likely talking to manufacturers about it, but not ready to make it public. No one reported on a rumor of Synaptics having this technology, even though it did. This is Synaptics saying, hey, everyone, we are ready to announce that we have this technology, which implies that they've had it for most of this past year, right? They're just now getting to the point of saying it publicly. And so you've got the rumor mill on one side making it feel like this has been around for a while, whereas Synaptics is actually not subject to the rumor mill. So this announcement is ahead of the official announcements of any phone using this. So the timeline still works.
No, of course it does. But I guess what I would have liked to see was a companion article about these rumored magical phones with no physical, with the sensor under the glass that would also say, hey, by the way, that technology hasn't been announced yet, but we suspect that it will be ready by this time. Maybe it's a detail I'm getting hung up on, but
yeah, I think it might be kind of. I mean, they're already saying this is a source telling us something that hasn't been announced yet either. So,
right.
Yeah, you do raise a very interesting question, which is how many other competing technologies are out there that do this, or is it just Synaptics? I'd be curious to know that.
Snapchat added a groups feature Tuesday that lets up to 16 people share text, photos, and videos. Snaps can be opened only twice by each member and self-delete in 24 hours. You can tap on the name of anybody in a group to chat one-on-one. Another new feature coming first to iOS and later to Android lets you cut out part of a snap and make it a sticker. Snapchat, you noticed the enthusiasm in my voice at that feature. Snapchat also added an artistic filter called Paintbrush for use on memories and Shazam music recognition available in the camera.
So if you don't use Snapchat, then this is all lost on you. If you don't use Snapchat to communicate with other people, some people just post stories. This is going to be lost on you. But if you're actually in there communicating with other people, sometimes it is annoying that you can't do a group chat. I use it to communicate with a couple of my friends regularly, and I have to relay to Eileen, oh, well, Eric said this, or they have to send it to two of us at once, or this or that. So it's nice to be able to open that up and be able to share text, photos, and videos. I think that's very handy with Snapchat as a communications medium. The stickers thing, you laugh, Patrick, but I actually I want to try this out. I'm sure I won't use it forever, but the idea of taking a photo of my dog and turning it into a sticker that I can then put into other photos sounds hilarious to me.
Well, you're more of a Snapchat user than I am. That much has been made clear today.
Cuba's Telecom Atexa signed a deal with Google to bring faster internet access to the country. Google will install servers in Cuba to improve connections to Google services like Gmail and YouTube. Basically, they want to reduce latency. The agreement was signed in Havana by Eric Schmidt, chairman of Google's parent company Alphabet, and Atexa president Mayra Arevich Marin.
Great. Capitalism in Cuba bringing internet to the people. Right?
Yeah. Ish.
Bringing
I mean,
Google
there's all kinds of wonders if the incoming administration will keep deals in place with Cuba. This is not going to have a huge effect on the average Cuban who isn't allowed to have a home internet connection anyway. But for those who can use it and for those who can go to public squares and use it, there's better service on the way for the Google services. And it's certainly great for Google to get their foot in the door in case this does turn into a massive internet market.
Yeah, I think, Gmail and YouTube are really big. We're used to them now, but I think in some locales it's a bigger deal and very useful. And given the hack together mesh networks they have that share existing connections, it might actually do something for the average internet user as well, or some of them at least.
Yeah, it can't hurt. So at this point, it's a good bet for Google.
And finally, the Nintendo Switch live stream has been scheduled for January 12, 11 p.m. Eastern at nintendo.com/Twitch. 11 p.m. Eastern. Don't they know I'll be asleep? Damn it, Nintendo. Nintendo is expected to announce price and availability then. The Tokyo-based event will be followed by a hands-on press event in New York on January 13. The Switch is due out sometime in March 2017.
Yeah, so they did this for Tokyo people. That's why it's at inconvenient times for the rest of us, I guess, right?
They could have managed it to make it inconvenient for you guys in the US and not for me.
Yeah, because it actually isn't that inconvenient on the West Coast, right? It's 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific time. So it may have been targeted to be convenient for Japan, but also not too inconvenient for the Silicon Valley.
Well, so the thing that is really striking in the last couple of weeks is how much coverage Nintendo has been getting on everything. And I am a big fan, of course, and I'm very excited about a new console coming from the manufacturer. But they've been on every single blog with Mario Run, and even this announcement. It was announced that it would be it was announced that it would be announced in January, and then in January 12, and then a bunch of articles at a certain time, and I'm not sure if it's Pokemon Go that all of a sudden make the entire tech sphere aware of Nintendo again, or if something else happened, maybe they hired a new PR person that is exceedingly good at their job and knows everyone in the industry. But it feels to me like this amount of coverage for even for the new console is a little bit strange. I'm not sure why everyone cares about Nintendo at this point.
I wonder, this is just theorizing, if the disappointment of the Wii U has a lot of people very excited for that to pass into memory, and therefore they want the Nintendo Switch to be great, and they're very much looking forward to this announcement so that they can move on to liking a Nintendo product again.
Yeah, it's possible. It might be also that a lot of tech bloggers are, now at the age that they are running things in some of the tech sites and not, the old, I don't want to be disparaging, maybe the old CES crowd that only cares about tech.
Yeah, like me. Yeah, gotcha.
Well, maybe. But, and so, and with the last console, the Wii U was after the Wii, so it was covered as well. I don't know. Maybe it's just the cycle that's coming back. But it feels a little bit like everyone's doing 15 articles about an inch of potential rumor news item about an event they've already covered a week ago. So.
And actually, I think that video that showed off the Switch and the Jimmy Fallon appearance that happened has showed people that this looks like a very promising console. Like, it's different, but it's different in a way that makes sense versus being like the Wii U, unfortunately, different in a way that a lot of people didn't quite understand what they were supposed to do with it.
Maybe. I think there's also a little bit of self-hyping happening. I'm guessing some people don't really understand why this is a big deal, but they're seeing everyone else making a big deal out of it. So they're like, oh,
that
we
always
have to,
happens. Yeah.
So good PRing on their side too.
Thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Well, Paul Leinert, Heather Somerville, and Alexandria Sage wrote up a story for Reuters that was published today on venture capitalists sort of souring on delivery startups. We're talking about startups that deliver food or pick up packages for shipping or bring you things from the convenience store. $9 billion has gone into 125 on-demand delivery companies over the past decade. That includes $2.5 billion this year. So that number makes it look like, hey, it's doing well and getting bigger. But the Reuters story notes that only $600 million has been raised in the second half of this year. So midway through the year, it started to decline, and in the fourth quarter, it fell off a cliff. The problem that these companies are having, and what's scaring away investors, is that the costs are high and the consumer price you can charge is at a ceiling. So the margins are thin, and it doesn't get better the more you scale. You still have driver churn, so you're constantly training people. You have operations people that cost money. You have more support costs, and they don't go away the more drivers you add and the more service you add. Now, the idea with these delivery companies is not that delivery is new, but that apps would cut out a large part of the logistical cost, make things efficient. It'd be easy to dispatch people. That's why Uber got into this, because they're like, hey, we already do this. Let's just add delivery on. But apparently it's not enough. So the next question, Patrick, is can autonomous cars be the thing that saves this? Now let's set aside whether we're going to get autonomous cars that can make these services work anytime soon. Autonomous cars still can't go pick up a package inside of a restaurant, and they can't go up to a customer's porch.
Can you hear me? Because my computer is entirely frozen.
We don't see you anymore, but we hear you.
All right, so I'll keep talking. Obviously, the first thought that everyone has is, yes, autonomous cars. And as it is pointed out in the article, and you said, yeah, but there are other logistical issues that an autonomous car is not going to solve. And I don't think that's gonna unless you equip the autonomous car with a very capable robot, then that is probably not going to help. And I don't see how this is going to become. I think it's a lot of us have been skeptical on these services because it's hard to get significant margins, and as they said, they don't scale. I see how the Uber for something, which a lot of investors are getting soured on at this point, was exciting at some point. But Uber for deliveries, for food deliveries especially, it's kind of hard to see an actual business model working out of this. And it's hard to see how the advancing technology is going to help making it more viable. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure why it took so long for people to realize this wasn't viable, because the problem is it's competing with existing food delivery services for the places you want to get food from already, and those are going to give you a cheaper price, and you don't want to pay an extra $15 on a dinner that's going to cost you 30.
Well, but the advantage is, and I say this from experience, Patrick.
Okay.
First of all, you don't have to go look up the place and pick up the phone and call them and talk to them and say, no, yes, I really want the walnut shrimp. No, the No, you just type it all in, and you get more places. It will deliver from restaurants that don't do delivery. So it widens your options. And, they have sales. The fee for delivery is usually around $5. It's certainly always less than 10 in my experience. So, yeah, it's not cheap, and it's not something that I personally want to do all the time. But when there's that one night where you just don't want to cook and you don't want to leave the house, like, all right, I'll fork over an extra $5 to get Rutt's Hawaiian brought to me because they don't do delivery.
Sure. I would suggest that you can usually find a delivery thing that does delivery that you'll probably be happy enough with. And even more important,
You and I are different.
maybe, but even more important, $5 I can put in. But how is anyone going to be making a living and having the company make a living on $5 for what is, I'm guessing, difficult to make less than, 20, 30 minutes of work? That isn't viable. And that's a problem of, cost and revenue and profits. And that, again, that doesn't scale. It doesn't mean you can't make that problem go away by increasing your market. So I don't.
And the problem comes, I think, and this is why Uber, I think, has a little bit of an advantage. I want to talk about that in a second. The problem comes that you have a driver who is out there like, I'm working for DoorDash, and I'm going to go to the KFC and pick up some chicken and bring it to a person's house. DoorDash can make money when that driver now delivers 3 or 4 meals on the same route, so that the driver's time doesn't increase dramatically, but they get more delivery fees, and that driver hopefully picks up a few extra tips on top of its regular rate. That causes huge logistical problems, and you have to be a company like Uber that can handle a lot of cars in motion all the time to be able to kind of finely slice that service and make it turn a profit. Uber not only has the existing ride system, they also own Auto, which is devoted to shipping logistics, mapping, and tracking for trucks. But this Reuters article points out they could apply that to deliveries and maybe be able to make it scale.
Honestly, I don't see how this is. Yes, in an ideal, wonderful world of logistical perfectness, you are going to have 3 or 4 people that order from the same place and that you're going to be able to deliver on one ride.
Well,
and
not in the same place. It's like, hey, these are all in the same area, so you pick up all the meals and then deliver all the people.
You really think that happens?
That does happen. I've seen it happen.
But on a wide enough basis that you can base your entire business model.
That's the idea, right? That's what all these companies are betting on, is we can get enough people using this service to do it. And that's why Uber has the advantage to say, like, well, we already got the cars out there, right?
So, yes, I think another potential explanation is a lot of people were very excited about the idea of, I'm going to do the Uber for this. And they thought everyone has to eat, right? And no one bothered to do the math and to study the actual feasibility of it. And I understand that to some extent, jumping into a startup and investing is kind of, betting on the unknown and on the possibility. But this one, and maybe, someone is going to come up with a way of making it actually work and going to make a huge idiot out of me, which has been known to happen. But it certainly seems to me like there was a lot more enthusiasm than realism in this particular type of venture. So, and the way it has died down in the latter part of the year, to me, the way I interpret it is they stopped for a second after the Uber for something craze settled down a little bit, and they were like, wait, what are we doing now? And looked at the numbers and figured out, maybe we'll let someone else figure that one out if it is possible. I think
venture capitalists get really angry at that kind of argument all the time, because these investors do a lot of math. They do a lot of looking. And I know there are verified stories of stupid things happening like you're talking about, but most of them look at the books, and now more than ever, they're saying, no, you have to actually make a return for us to invest in you. So yeah, probably a lot of these did get some funding based on somebody saying, hey, it's the hot new thing, let's pour some money into it. But I bet plenty of them did the math and thought, hey, it's a reasonable bet, let's see if it can happen. And there are companies like DoorDash who are still able to get funding rounds because they're still able to say, hey, we're out there making deliveries. We still think we have a shot to do this.
Is DoorDash delivering food, though?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Well, okay, maybe they will make it happen. Well, there you go. That's
maybe that makes all the difference. I don't know. I think Uber has the big advantage, though. They have $15 billion in cash. They have all these ancillary businesses that can have benefits for this type of service without requiring you. The big reason I like to use Uber over DoorDash is because they show me the car. That's a huge advantage to me. If I'm ordering food, to know like, oh, there they are, they're very close. Whereas with a lot of these other services, and certainly if you call the pizza place and ask them to deliver, you never know when they're going to show up. So
yeah, and I think Uber is a special case here. They're already so big. They have so much capabilities for the other parts of their business and so much cash, they can sort of experiment with this. It's a small, well, not a small, but a side business trial for them. Whereas for a company that does, bases their entire business of this, it's a lot more challenging to actually achieve, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one last side note before this, we may see that a lot of these companies either fold or get acquired by, or their employees end up working for the autonomous ride services we're consistently seeing people saying, yeah, I'm going to launch it in 2017. I'm going to launch it in 2018. That may be aggressive in its hopefulness. But if we start to see Alphabet and Waymo providing a service by the end of next year, if we see Uber expand into San Francisco, which CNET just today found a warehouse full of Uber self-driving cars that appear to be ready to launch, we may start to see those services saying, hey, well, let's partner up. So yeah, we'll probably still need to figure out that last 10 feet. But Uber usually makes you come out and get the food from their car anyway. And you've got that service that's escaping me from Estonia that has autonomous robots delivering the food with a lockbox. So maybe there's something along those lines. I bet that can be figured out. And I bet that is the future of these services. How far that future is the big question, I suppose. That is, yeah. All right, let's get to some messages of the day. Last week, we talked about Amazon Go, the convenience store where you don't have to do anything. You just pick up stuff and walk out, and it charges you. It just has to know who you are on the way in. Yesterday, we talked about Panasonic, was it Panasonic, I think, who is doing a checkout system where you just put things into a basket. You don't have to do any scanning. Well, a lot of people said, hey, I shop at a place that has something very close to that already. We start with a voicemail from Desmond.
Hey, Tom and friends. I was listening to Monday, December 12th show, and you guys were talking about the new checkout system in Japan. I used to live in Stanton, Virginia, and the local little tiny town, but the local Martin's grocery store had a great checkout system where you scanned your shopper's card when you first checked in. You got a little scanner. You went around the grocery store, and everything you put in your basket, you scanned. And then when you went to check out, you just scanned your card again, returned to the scanner, and paid. And that was it. It was real simple. It was awesome. And every so often they would check your bag just to see if it was working. And that was all. Anyways, love the show.
Thank you, Desmond. Maurice wrote in, as did a few other people, to point out that Sam's Clubs, warehouse stores here in the U.S., also have a similar system where you scan the UPC with an app, and the app knows you're in the store with geolocation. And then Toby said, the Lawson's automated bagging makes me think of the self-checkout increasingly being used in the UK. You scan on the supplied handheld scanner as you place the items into your own bags, pay with Apple Pay at unsupervised checkout exits, no rebagging or transfer required. So apparently this is a thing that is widespread across the globe.
And I believe that is the exact thing I talked about last Tuesday when someone mentioned something like that on the show as well as a comment. All of these are interesting indeed. We did have one in France, very similar, I think, 10, 15 years ago, with the little handheld scanner thing. The difference, though, and what makes the Amazon Go story interesting is that you don't need the scanner thing or any form of, accounting for the items you're picking up in the store. It does that by itself through, sensors and cameras and machine learning and all of that beautiful technology stuff. So you can just go pick them up and walk out. And that's the clever, interesting thing. If it was just, you had a scanner and you had to scan them and put them in your basket, as everyone pointed out, it already exists.
Yeah. Well, and even the Panasonic one is a step up because you don't have to scan anything. You just put it in the basket.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a half step towards what Amazon's got going on. Brian, a.k.a. Electronic Eagle, checked his mailbox this morning, and Nissan Leaf owners finally received an update on the 2G telecom unit that will stop working on December 31st. Getting pretty close there. He says, I have mixed feelings about shelling out $199, but really wonder why they waited until mid-December to disclose this plan. The turn-off date was set more than a year before I purchased the car in 2014. In the past 2 years, I've spent $29 total in maintenance on the car and nothing in gas, so I really shouldn't complain. But I get you, man. If they're charging you $199 to replace an element of your car that they decided to sunset, I mean, I guess 2G service is just going away, but still.
They mentioned 2 years ago that it was going to go away. So,
yeah. And he knew it when he bought the car, I suppose. Exactly. It is cutting it way close on the solution.
Yeah, it is.
Rich from lovely Cleveland just saw an article from the Register that came out last night that Cisco is getting rid of its intercloud service. The public cloud market is rapidly shrinking, says Rich, with AWS dominant and Azure around to pick up the still profitable slack. HPE sold its OpenStack assets to SUSE last month, and now Cisco kills their effort. A lot of players are moving into specialized niches. HPE is focusing on cloud storage, for example. Cisco wants to move into hybrid cloud service, but it seems the players for overall cloud computing are really narrowing. I thought this was an interesting enterprise-focused story.
AWS is eating everything.
Yeah, it's eating the world. And S. Snapier in our analysts Slack notes that a story that security camera company Hikvision is ending its cloud service caught his eye. Hikvision said it will discontinue online service due to a security vulnerability, and IPVM says, yeah, that's our security vulnerability. That's why they're discontinuing this service. We discovered it. Snapier notes, Hikvision is a very large player in the residential and small business security industry. They white box for a ton of brands, at least 24 that he knows of. Most of the stuff you see at the big box stores is made by Hikvision or Dahua, no matter what the box says. So if you're buying a security camera, probably had Hikvision in it. If it didn't, it had the other one.
And if you did have a Hikvision camera, is that a problem now?
No, they're transitioning you to a different service, but it is kind of a big deal and a pain for a lot of people to have to figure that out. Well, thank you, Patrick Beja, for joining us, and let folks know what else you got going on, where they can find you.
You know what? If you enjoy video games, and I'm sure a lot of you do, why don't you head over to FrenchSpin.com and listen to Pixels? We have a new logo and everything. It's amazingly pink. It's got a great X pixelated in the middle. It looks awesome. I don't know why, with all of these excellent reasons, you wouldn't do that. So go to FrenchSpin.com and get all of your video game news every 2 weeks in Pixels.
Do it now. You will not regret it. Also, one thing we do not regret is your support on Patreon, on PayPal, in the store. You can find all of those links at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Thanks to all our patrons, including Jeff Brannick and Louise. Thanks to Greg Kramer, who just raised his pledge. And thanks to Laura for buying a DTNS mug today in the shop. You guys are all supporting in different ways, and you're all my favorites. Patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is dailytechnewsshow.com if you didn't guess that already. Back tomorrow with Scott Johnson and Ben Johnson from Codebreaker. Talk to you then.
Bye.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
All right.
Cool. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, sorry about your camera. I just turned your video off, so I don't know if it came back.
Fine.
Because
no.
When I turned your video off, it put your icon
Face.
up.
Yeah, the thing is actually completely frozen. I have control over the mouse and nothing else. The touch bar is frozen. Nothing works. I suspect either Steve Jobs didn't like what I was saying, or
the ghost of Steve Jobs got you.
Chrome is doing. So I'm gonna hard reboot.
Okay.
And I'll be back for the predictions show.
Sounds good.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
Thanks,
Talk to you
Patrick.
then. Bye, guys.
You know what's really going on. He's having a big blogger party there.
I haven't.
Oh, he
yet.
hasn't
I'm
left
still
yet. Darn
here.
it.
All right, I'm pressing the button.
All right, thanks,
He's gonna
Beto.
do it any second now.
Right now.
Yeah, what do we got for titles, Roger?
Meals on Wheels for people who are perfectly able to drive. Delivery in 0 minutes or less. Fiber and protein to the door. Kung Pao drone. Self-driving food, self-driving pizza, Waymo traffic, Waymo money, Mo profits. I think we've done something like that before.
Yeah, Mo jokes have been in the titles a few times.
Alphabet gets Waymo child companies.
Alphabets is pretty good.
Alphabeting on the future. Does Alphabet dream of autonomous vehicles?
I also like self-driving food.
I do. Self-driving food is good. I like that one. I also like his other one, the Kung Pao drone.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about drones though. We should have.
Yeah. All right, then self-driving food.
All right, done.
I'm imagining if that's the case, they're going to take one of those little, what's the little Ford Transit Connect ones, and they're just going to totally outfit it with like little food heaters. So when you get something hot, it'll keep it warm.
Yeah, well, that's what that Estonian company is doing. It's basically a food heater on robotic wheels, and it just trundles down the sidewalk.
What if it had a built-in wheel drone that comes out and goes straight to your door and hits the button? Ding dong.
Yeah, so the self-driving car brings the food. The drone picks it up out of the car, and that way it doesn't ever go up high and involve FAA rules. It just goes up your driveway. Problem there is, and we did get into this, there's also like, hey, I live in a dorm room on the locked 5th floor.
Now, if they have a window, this is great. If they have a window, you know how you put out that little shelf thing for air conditioners? You have a window air conditioner and you have to put the little thing. You can put a little pad there, like a little
landing pad. Yeah.
Like a little drone pad.
Yeah, but that's going to be a break on onboarding. That's going to stop people from wanting to do it. Like, I don't want to have to put a landing pad out. I'm not going to use that service.
Fine, hire someone to get out of the car after it drives there.
I know, right? Like, and then it's like, well, then you haven't saved anything. You might as well have them drive themselves.
Maybe you can get kids. They work.
The Food Aviation Administration. Get that
hilariously droll.
The Food and Drone Administration, the FDA. Oh, Big Jim says you could just use an RC car.
You could.
You wouldn't have to fly it.
But that wouldn't help with the guy on the 5th floor.
Oh, and Shane says then the companies can give you the landing pad for free. So maybe
isn't that how they get you? Isn't that like the Razor model? The Razor's free with the
yeah.
Well, I don't want to go with another service. I already have this.
Knott's is like they'll just text you and you go outside for 15 seconds. That's essentially what Uber does with Uber Eats. They just tell you, hey, your food's here. Go out and get it.
Well, what will happen is newer buildings will have basically a large funnel on the roof. And then it drops
They just drop your food down?
Yeah.
Right into your mouth.
But no, like, you know how like at your condo you have that garbage thing?
The garbage chute, yeah.
Yeah. It's just you have one for the food.
Food chute.
Yeah.
What if we go even further back in time and we use what are those called?
Pneumatic tubes?
Yes. Yeah, pneumatic tubes. Where they just put the food in a pneumatic tube and then press the room number that it needs to go to.
That would be great.
Here's the problem with all of these, as entertaining as they are. The problem is logistics and cost. And these are all making things logistically more difficult and costing.
When we build the new city, Tom, we'll build that infrastructure straight in.
Anything that starts with we'll have to build something new that is not on the client side or on the provider side is probably not going to work.
I'll get a bunch of H-1B visas and then get programmers to come out and deliver you food by hand.
I think that's called DoorDash. I think that's what they're doing now. I think that's essentially what's happening.
What was that movie with the RC car that would drive under other cars and explode? Oh, that was bad weave. The movie was, they weren't RC cars, they were little road drones. And the movie was Runaway. It featured Tom Selleck. And who's the lead singer from Kiss? Gene Simmons as the baddie. And this is cool. That movie actually featured one of the first uses of little aerial drones to basically work as remote eyes for police. So they would send one in. They would send, I thought they called it a floater, and would go into a house.
Get the floater.
And it would fly in, and they could see remotely what the drone would see. It's pretty awesome. They had little spider bots and stuff.
Yeah. I have to say, when I'm trying to think back, when I was in the dorms at the University of Illinois, and granted, this was in ancient times, in 1988, we just went downstairs. You ordered Grog's Pizza Delivery, you just went downstairs. They would ring a buzzer and be like, "Hey, we're here," and then you go downstairs and get it. So I don't see why with the self-driving car they couldn't just text you, like the app will say, "Hey, your thing's here. Go put in this code in the door, and then you can get your food."
I don't know. Maybe people learn how to cook. Well, I don't. Really be interesting if you basically have a fridge stocked with like the 10 or 12 ingredients you need, and all you do is just download a recipe, and the thing makes it for you.
Well, that's a whole different industry, and there's lots of people trying to work on that right now.
Why don't you just eat oatmeal and be done with it like every other college student for 4 years? Oatmeal, mac and cheese, ramen noodles, min bar. Oh, the mini bar. I thought you meant min bar is in the homeworld of the Minbari, Babylon 5.
I never watched Babylon. I mean, I watched the pilot of Babylon 5. I never watched the whole series.
You skip the first season, although you'll need it to understand the second, third, and fourth, and possibly the fifth season.
So I can't skip it. Is what you're saying.
It's just the first season, except for a couple of the actors, the acting is really bad. It gets better when they replace the lead character with Bruce Boxleitner. Wait, what's a way bad idea? The mac and cheese and hot oatmeal and ramen?
I don't know.
I'm talking
Shane
Jim.
said he ate spaghetti in a jar, and I definitely did that too. My go-to cheap food was a package of spaghetti noodles and a jar of tomato sauce, Carl Buddig meats, and the cheapest bread I could get, and then Kraft macaroni and cheese. And then sometimes I'd buy broccoli, like fresh broccoli to put into either the spaghetti or the mac and cheese to get me a vegetable.
Ate a lot of cold cuts and soup.
I did some tomato soup. I'd do grilled cheese and tomato soup with like, I would never get the Kraft slices because I had those when I had tonsillitis as a kid and I hated them. So I'd try to find other cheap cheeses for the grilled cheese.
I ended up basically just buying a sack of rice and then ordering Chinese food.
Oh yeah, I do rice and beans a lot too.
Because the rice stretches and then the Chinese food is mostly vegetables, so it's not too bad for you. It's pretty filling. I mean, you'll be hungry by morning.
I did ramen a little bit, but honestly, I didn't like it. It didn't fill me up enough. I needed more of a protein in there.
You're burning calories, Tom.
Yeah, back then I was. Not anymore.
Well, it's easier to do a lot of things when you're young. When I was in college, I was working 25, 30 hours a week.
Oh yeah, tuna. Big Jim mentions tuna. I did tuna. I would put tuna in my spaghetti and in my macaroni and cheese.
I was very suspicious of canned tuna for the longest time.
Really?
I mean, I ate a lot of it as a kid, but
I thought it was stalking you.
I thought it was just dolphin meat, and so I was just like, I don't want that.
Oh, you didn't think it was actually tuna? So what? I mean, if it was dolphin meat, it's still protein.
Yeah, maybe.
Ethically, it might be a problem, but
it's high in mercury content.
Well, they're all high in mercury content.
Yeah.
I also did. I did tacos. I would buy a can of refried beans, and then a can of olives, and a can. Everything was canned that went into it, and then some shredded cheese. That would be when I was splurging though, because that was a little more expensive.
When I got my job at the Exploratorium, I finally shifted all my cooking to the rice cooker and the crock pot. And so I'd buy a bunch of not cheap meat, but like the tougher cuts of meat, throw that in. I'd throw in like a bunch of carrots, potatoes, spinach, mushrooms, and let it cook. And that could feed me for like 4 days.
Yeah. GPEG says, was there no on-campus dining? This is after on-campus dining. First of all, they didn't always serve dinner. They didn't serve breakfast, I don't think.
It was expensive.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking about when I lived on my own after college.
When I
most
did
of these
that.
recipes are coming from.
After college, I had my job at Tech TV, so I upgraded to grocery shopping every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Like I could afford to eat more fresh vegetables and fruit. Part of it was just I didn't really have a lot of time. I was working 60 plus hours a week at that point.
Oh yeah, no, I had a budget of $90 a month for groceries.
You know what saved my bacon? Literally, bacon. It was Costco.
Was buying bacon.
So just getting a Costco card. Like I could load up on all sorts of I would load up on 4 loaves of bread. I'd throw that in the freezer.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
Like I just throw I would stay away from a lot of the red meat stuff, but like some of the other stuff.
I tried to do the beans and rice pot and eat it all week, a lot, but it didn't always work. And see, by the time I got my job at Tech TV, I was making more than I had made in Austin. So I was able to upgrade to eating out every once in a while instead of having to eat at home all the time.
We didn't eat that. I didn't eat that a lot. I ordered in cheap Chinese food. That's the great thing about Chinese restaurants. Like you can go low buck, and it generally is okay.
My big thing at CNET was to find lunch places that didn't cost me more than $5 for lunch. And there was the curry place across the street.
Oh, Curry in a Hurry.
Yeah, there was the Quiznos. There was the toaster oven. Subway.
Toaster oven was expensive.
Toaster oven was mostly expensive. They had a couple of things for $5 on the menu. Huh. But the one that I ended up going the most often was the deli. I can't remember the deli now. With the hot bar of Chinese food.
Oh,
and
yeah.
bar.
Is that the one across the street?
Is that Lee's Deli?
Yeah. Lee's Hot. Yeah, everyone called it a steam table.
I could always do Lee's for less than $5.
That's a problem. I eat a lot. I eat a lot at lunch to offset the fact that I don't eat breakfast.
Yeah, see? That's why they call breakfast the most important meal of the day, even though it's not.
Really, the most important meal of the day is when I'm hungry.
Yeah, apparently the whole most important meal of the day has no evidence to support it.
So we went with self-driving food.
We did.
Did we? It's the top pick.
Self-driving food. Yep. It's in there. I'm about to publish it.
Publish.
As a matter of fact.
Publish it.
I'm trying to get the right link here for self-driving food.
Jeez.
All right.
You know, Jason, it's I actually tend to look at a lot of online reviews with a great deal of skepticism. I tend to cross-reference it with multiple sources.
You realized you were once again responding to someone with the rest of us not understanding what you're responding to.
Sorry. I can't help it. I've been eating lunch yet.
Jason Bryant is tired of unethical things. He wrote a dirtier word than that, but that's because he's mad. I'm explaining what you're responding to. I'm assuming that's what you're responding to.
Yes.
All right.
Mongolian food is good. Spicy, but good.
Oh, yeah.
Mongolian beef.
Okay. That is it for this episode of the Daily Tech News Show. It is all published and everything.
Awesome.
And then tomorrow we're back with Ben Johnson from Codebreaker. I said that right?
Yes, you did. Oh, you said Ben. Yeah, Ben Johnson from Marketplace.
I did? I thought I said Codebreaker.
Did you?
I don't know.
Well, either case is not incorrect. Codebreaker is on Marketplace. Or Marketplace.
I said Codebreaker. I just checked.
Okay.
All right. Not that Marketplace would have been wrong, but Okay, thank you all for watching and listening.